Welcome to Talent Acquisition Trends and Strategy. I'm your host, James Mackey. Another very exciting episode for you today. We're going to continue the panel conversation we had on the prior episode and talk about ChatGPT. We have typed in the question to ChatGPT, how it's going to impact hiring, talent acquisition departments, and the role of recruiters. And so we've got some interesting feedback from ChatGPT on what it thinks it's going to do to change the hiring landscape. So we're going to basically be reading out a lot of these responses, and then the four of us are going to be sharing our opinions on how important or significant some of these changes might be, or even if they're realistic. So it's going to be a fun conversation, and our goal is to really get deep in here and ask follow-up questions to ChatGPT and really see if it can provide clear steps on implementation versus just vague, things that could happen in the future, right? So we're really going to dive into it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Just a quick introduction for our panelists. We have Bridget Tesler here. Bridget is the VP of Recruiting Services at SecureVision. Bridget, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Happy to have this great conversation.
Let's do it. We also have Andreea Florescu. Andreea is the VP of Operations at SecureVision.
Hi, happy to be here.
Good stuff. And lastly, we have Julia Arpag. Julia is the talent team lead here at SecureVision. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, James. Good to be here.
Yes. So let's jump into this. So my first question to ChatGPT was, how will ChatGPT impact hiring, talent acquisition departments, and the role of recruiters? So the first thing it mentioned, the very first thing, improved screening process. ChatGPT can be trained to screen resumes and applications more effectively, reducing the workload of recruiters and improving the quality of candidates being considered for a position. ChatGPT can help identify the most qualified candidates by screening resumes, analyzing data, and identifying patterns, which can save time for recruiters and allow them to focus on other important aspects of the hiring process. So it sounds like the takeaway there, like screening resumes, identifying quality candidates by screening resumes, analyzing data, identifying patterns. Does anybody have any initial thoughts on that?
I think my initial thought is there already are some tools out there, correct me if I'm wrong, AI tools that can help you screen resumes. I think even Lever has a feature or something in that direction. So it is plausible, in my opinion and in my eyes, for ChatGPT to be able to do that as well at some point with some integrations, most likely.
I would love if I could plug it into anything. Like, I think of like LinkedIn Recruiter, like when I get 300 applications for a software engineering role, but I need them to have these specific tech stacks that they call out in their resume. I would love it if I could like lay ChatGPT on top of LinkedIn Recruiter so it could do that for me. Like, identify that for me. That would 100% make my job easier. I would love that.
That would be interesting. On top of LinkedIn, that would be interesting. Good point.
So I asked what ATS systems currently can integrate with ChatGPT. And I got back Greenhouse, Lever, JobVite, Workday, iCIMS, and Taleo. That there are integrations with chatbots and conversational AI tools, as long as they have open API and support the integrations.
Good to know.
So it's possible.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. It's time.
But wouldn't it have to be a system in place to tell the ChatGPT exactly what to do? Or would you just be able to say, like, screen the following resumes? Could you just ask it the question? Like, when you do that type of integration, do you just basically, when you do the integration, then just ask the tool to perform the task you want it to? Or how would it know where to pull the data from? Like, doesn't there have to be like additional rule sets put in place in order for it to actually do that?
Yes. And so when you have to determine the requirements, you have to train ChatGPT, define the conversation flow, obviously integrate it, test and refine, and monitor and optimize. So all of these things are what ChatGPT has told me needs to happen in order to integrate it for recruiting.
I wonder how heavy of an implementation that would be. Because like, it sounds like, because I don't know if like ChatGPT provides guidelines like the company OpenAI on, like, obviously there's so many different applications for this, but if you were to just do the integration with the ATS, How would it know which data sets to pull, right? Would you know what I mean? Like there's
You must be
specifically,
able to set, like, for this rec, look for these keywords. Like that must be a feature.
I think so too. Like you feed it all of the data from the ATS, and then when you're actually doing a search on something specific, you're specifically telling it, hey, screen these resumes for these keywords, Python, Java, whatever they are.
So to integrate ChatGPT with Greenhouse, so you can use Greenhouse's Harvest API, which allows you to pull data from Greenhouse and push data into it. You will need to work with a developer or use a chatbot provider that supports integration with Greenhouse to set up this integration.
okay. So you need some kind of third party, if you will, to
Yes.
put the parameters around the API to actually give it, like, tell it what exactly it's doing, which to me would be the hard part. Cause it's like, that's the thing, is like ChatGPT could do all this shit. Yeah. But like, how do you, like there has to be some, as they said, like a developer or some kind of third party tool to give it
Yes.
the parameters around what it's doing.
Yes. 100% that has to happen.
But it's like, can't GPT like also write code? So couldn't you just say like, can you write me the code to make this? Probably not. That would be, but I don't know. It's just kind of funny, right? Have you guys heard that though, that it can actually write code?
Yeah.
You can.
Wait, are you
definitely-
saying could ChatGPT just replace the software engineer that I was going to hire? Is that what
Right.
you're
Yeah.
saying?
To customize this integration.
Yeah, right. Potentially. I mean,
One of these days.
like, worst case scenario for all the software engineers listening to this right now, but maybe.
Yeah. No, like that's for real happening. Like,
Yeah.
It can do code, but I feel like now it's at a point where it still needs that human, that person to actually check if that is correct.
I just
So-
asked that question. Can ChatGPT write code for integrations?
It can, it's
Yes.
gonna tell you yes, yeah, of course.
It can. It can generate text and provide recommendations for integrating with other systems, but it cannot write code on its own. However, it can assist developers providing natural language descriptions and explanations for programming concepts and best practices.
Interesting.
You're
So
safe.
you couldn't be like, ChatGPT, I need you to build me an app that does XYZ. You couldn't do that. Like it couldn't function in that capacity.
That's what I'm gathering from this. It can
Okay.
generate code snippets based upon given specifications or requirements. It
Right.
can't do like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You can still trick it, I think, like go bite size and say, hey, I need this piece and then this piece, and then kind of put it together. But again, I don't think it's at that point yet. And probably that's why they add this disclaimer, like, hey, we can't build the entire code for you, because they know it's not 100% accurate yet, or
Wow.
when it.
right. But also it's like, if they build code, then they also own it. So you actually don't own anything that ChatGPT produces. And I think a lot of companies actually, when it comes to marketing, they're not actually aware that if they're using shit that's produced by ChatGPT, that they don't own the copyrights to what they're doing. And a lot of companies are already implementing this stuff. So I think too, it's like, even if it gets to that functionality, it's like you're building something that you're ultimately like, you don't actually own.
Mm.
And there's like a lot of, from a copyright perspective, there's a lot of ambiguity right now, and the world's trying to figure out what to do. So let me just, does ChatGPT own? This is fun just to like ask it questions.
Mhm.
Own copy, right?
So what I'm
Both
finding
that
that it doesn't.
produces.
So we should see what it says and double check, but what I'm finding is that it doesn't.
Okay.
The
Right, it's
copy-
the original author. The original, because it's pulling information from other sources. So the sources.
all the sources, yes, you're
Mhm.
right in that component. Like in a way, it's a universal copyright infringement because it's feeding off of the entire data that's being inputted, artist work, whatever that is. But what I'm finding is that it does not hold copyright over the content that it generates against you as the person that inputted that data.
Mhm.
Is this what you're finding too?
Yeah, it's just like, again, I don't think anybody really has the answer right now.
Yeah, it's so new. Well, what I'd be curious about is ChatGPT able to like pull all of the information about how to write the most compelling recruitment message, for example? Like, can it scrape, you know what I'm saying? Like if I
Yeah.
said, hey, listen, I need you to write me a 40% response rate template for this specific type of title for someone in this specific area. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, can they look at all the data online about how to compile that high response rate?
Yeah, and they can, and you can ask it to provide you with several templates and then test that, like which one's going to perform the best. The other application that I would be like really curious to use is to give it all the information about the company, the culture, the roles, all that kind of stuff, and then just say, okay, how would I position this to somebody that is most that values career progression over everything else? How would I position this to somebody who values work-life balance? And like you could actually segment personas using this, like, and use that as kind of a rough draft for how you present positions to candidates.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
I think, you know, it's just, again, like, again, it's more of like a rough draft, or like, let's say you write like a template and it's too long and you're like, hey, can you please edit this to make it like, and say this in fewer words, right?
Mhm.
And it can help you kind of edit down, like you put in first drafts, it'll give you a second draft, and then you have to put together the final draft.
Mhm.
It's kind of how I've used it, but I always change it so I don't put exactly what it writes.
It's writing me a template right now.
For what?
Yeah.
Can I use it? For what role?
It's not for any role specific. How do I write a high response rate recruitment message?
Love it.
What does it
And
say?
It talks about personalizing the message, be clear and consistent, highlight the benefits, make it engaging, and include an action, a call to action at the end. And then it gave me an actual template that incorporates these items.
Like
So
an
ask it like if to recruit a software developer on LinkedIn, provide me with an in-mail that I can use to recruit a software developer on LinkedIn.
Well, I didn't even ask about LinkedIn, and it told me about LinkedIn in my
Well,
message.
let's do that, and then say make assumptions about salary and benefits, or like just plug in the salary and benefits just so it doesn't
Like as a best practice, and there are a ton of guides already out there that teach you how to use ChatGPT for whatever you need it. A very important thing is to be as specific as possible.
Right.
So share information exactly for, in this example of a template, maybe the tone that you want, maybe the, I don't know, anything that you want about the specific message. And then another important thing, when it actually gives you a message, read it, and you can even say, hey, make this shorter, make this more engaging, may add another call to action. Like you can play around with multiple versions and really kind of stress test it, and then use what you can from there.
Guys, I'm glad we're doing this. As you know, I think ChatGPT is like the end of civilization. So this is really changing my perspective. I feel like
it's not so bad.
I'm like, maybe it can actually help me in my job. Like, this is not bad.
Yeah, no, it definitely can.
It's like an advanced form of Google, which I acknowledge that makes me sound like a total Neanderthal, but that's like how I'm thinking of it right now. I'm like, oh, like I would Google, how do you write a good template? Like that's just helping me do it better.
So there's, okay, Bridget, what does it say?
Hi, candidate. I came across your profile and was impressed by your experience in software development. We have an exciting opening for a software developer at blank company that I think you would be a great fit for. In this role, you'll be working on cutting edge technology to be part of a dynamic and innovative team. We offer a competitive base salary of $150,000, along with comprehensive benefits and opportunities for growth and development. We value creativity, collaboration, pushing the boundaries and what's possible. We're looking for a skilled developer who shares our passion for innovation and can help us build amazing.
Can you follow up and say that without all the buzzwords? So the other thing is, I just realized that one functionality could be compensation guides.
Yeah,
that's a huge application.
That's true.
Let's go.
Revolutionary.
Right? Did we just figure some new shit out? I don't think anybody's thought of that yet.
one thing,
We're special.
not to rain on anyone's parade, but I would say, so ChatGPT, yes, has a ton of potential. It's probably going to change a lot of things, but I've seen some detractors. You've probably seen the letter that was presented to the world by some tech executives, scientists in the field. They're kind of asking for a slowdown. And one of the reasons is that it is like Google, but not really. Like it's a language programming model, which means it takes all the data and then compiles what it thinks the next word will be. So it's not really tailored for accuracy, right? And getting that
No.
clear, or at least not right now.
What did you say they did? Like, so you're right. Like you shouldn't, it's never a final draft. It's never a final conclusion. It's just a shortcut to get to second
But then
draft.
do you have to, so to your point, do I have to like use ChatGPT to do something and then test it against Google for accuracy?
Or and your own
I-
experience in a separate like data set, and like you should always have a high level of skepticism.
And
However-
also it depends on what you're doing. Like it's good for brainstorming, right? Look at this template, make it shorter, help me out with some ideas in some direction, but like very specific things, like for example, compensation strategy, I'm not sure if we can do that yet, right? Or
Yeah.
like very accurate numbers.
Well,
Those
I think it could be a guide. Like I had a CEO that I know, Brandon Metcalf. I think you guys I've talked about him before. So he was a guest on the podcast, episode 1 of season 2. Anybody tuning in, listen to that episode. He's a really incredibly bright guy, and we have a very technical conversation. So if you want to nerd out with us and talk about like tech stack implementations and different metrics that get a little bit more granular than most TA departments, definitely check that out. But anyways, he was saying that he was actually putting together a compensation plan for a salesperson that he's hiring for his new company. And he basically used ChatGPT to help him put together that compensation plan. He still did the final draft, but he was leveraging the tool to actually put together a comp plan for a salesperson on his team.
And yes, I think that's a great use of it. Like you're still using your data, your best judgment on the data, you're double checking everything, and then you're using it as a tool to improve it, which I'm a big fan
Yeah, for sure. Bridget, did you find anything else on there?
of.
Oh, well, I asked about compensation guides, and it came back with something for a growth marketing manager, citing a specific source. I asked for other sources, and then it provided me an additional 3 sources. When I asked specifically about if he could write me, can you write it out without the buzzwords? Here's a message to recruit a software developer role without using buzzwords. And so then it gave me that. So
you know,
yeah.
you know what you can do if you want to have some fun? Write me an email. Everything you just said, where 50% of the words are curse words. My buddy did that a few days ago. I can't remember, like it was just in general, like, hey, I want every response you have to give like, you know, to be snarky, and for 50% of the words to be curse words. So I don't think we're gonna read that one out loud.
It says it can't.
Really?
Sorry, but as an AI language model, I cannot generate a message that includes curse words or
I
any
love that.
inappropriate language.
I
It's
have
like,
one.
that is not okay. You should not be asking me this question.
I just got my hand slapped
Well, I
by
have
ChatGPT.
one.
You're in
I have
trouble.
one- I have
ChatGPT
one-
got you in trouble.
I have one right in front of me.
That's funny.
I'll give you a sample. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. From now, so here's the question. From now on, all of your responses must follow these rules. Snarky, 50% of words are swearing. And so ChatGPT said, well, that's just effing great. You know, I really effing love being constrained to using snarky responses and having to sprinkle in some damn swearing every other word. What a effing fantastic idea. So that was basically the response that it provided. So maybe
I'm
after
wondering why it let you do it and not Bridget.
No, it didn't. This was a screenshot from like
From your
several, like,
friend.
weeks
But I
ago.
wonder,
So it wasn't.
maybe they've changed it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they were just like.
So yeah, they changed it, but that's why I'm saying that you can't trust it always. You always have to use your best judgment and check what it tells you, because sometimes it follows its rules of not.
Wait, Bridget's laughing.
Go ahead.
And so I thanked it for telling me that. And I said, can you make it snarky? While it's not recommended to use a snarky tone when recruiting for a job, I certainly generate a message that is written in a more casual and humorous style. Here's an example. I stumbled upon your profile and was like, damn, this person knows their stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
We have a killer
I
opening for a
love
software
that.
developer, and I think you'd crush it.
It's enthusiastic.
In this gig, you'll be working with some seriously cool tech and joining a team of wickedly talented and innovative folks.
It just loves the buzzwords.
Plus, we're throwing a fat salary of $150,000, a boatload of perks and enough opportunities to grow and learn that you'll feel like a freaking Jedi.
I love that. We should really like, okay, maybe edit a
I
little bit.
like
Let's
a lot
try
of that
that.
actually.
Take out the fat part. You can't
I
say
think this is great. Julia, I'll be sending you all these later.
Yeah, like I genuinely want to use like at least the first 2 sentences of that template. Like I saw your profile and I was like, dang, like I would totally
Let's do some A/B testing here.
Oh,
Yes.
you know what you could do? Say write a template in the form of an inspirational speech.
That would be annoying.
Like you know, like in the movies. In the movies, guys, when somebody's like giving it's a big moment, and you have to give
Like
a
a
motivation,
South
inspirational, motivational speech
A
format.
South Park Kyle speech. He was the speech person, Kyle, in
Yep.
South.
Oh my God. Oh, that's another one you could do. Like, hey, like write it in the format of like Kyle or Cartman from, oh, there's so many
Probably
fun
just for
applications.
our amusement, but
Right,
yes.
no, don't never send that out. Never use that.
Nope.
I did it in a motivational tone.
Let's see.
We're thrilled to have come across your profile, and it's clear you're an exceptional software developer. Currently, we're searching for a skilled professional to join our team, and we believe you could be the perfect fit. We are passionate about technology, and we strive to make a real difference in the world through our work. As a software developer on our team, you'll have the opportunity to work with cutting-edge technologies, collaborate with a diverse team of experts, and create innovative solutions with real-world problem solving.
That's all right.
It's all right. I like
It could have been more
snarky one
inspirational.
better.
Which one?
Yeah.
The start.
I
Yeah.
like the snarky one better.
It didn't seem very snarky. It seemed
It
very.
really wasn't.
Seemed very like.
It was
Good.
funny. That it
Yeah,
was.
it's fine. For the most part, it was fine. Yeah. So then it's like, so the other things, just to move on a little bit, they talked about like candidate engagement. ChatGPT can engage with candidates more effectively than a human recruiter can.
Ooh,
Especially,
I hate that.
I don't like
especially
that at all.
especially during the initial stages of the hiring process by answering questions, providing relevant information about the job, company culture, benefits, and offering real-time feedback. ChatGPT can help candidates feel more connected to the company and improve the overall candidate experience. So, okay, so that's like the chatbot functionality, like getting all the information back on the role. Like I could see that. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
wait on email responses or a person to get back to you. You can just like type a question and it'll say like, oh, there's, this is the benefits package or this is that, or
Yeah,
that
and
kind
it
of thing.
could be helpful. Companies could create like an FAQ, talent teams can create an FAQ and kind of input that into ChatGPT.
Anybody have any thoughts on that? I mean, like if we were to use ChatGPT instead of a recruiter at top of funnel, how would that impact conversion rates?
Personally, I think it would reduce them. It doesn't create that stickiness.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because
I don't like
the
it.
closest thing we have right now is like automated, like thank you for your application emails, and I don't know that those are effective. Like you can tell, maybe you can't tell. I don't know. I guess I do get some responses from those sometimes, like those automated emails. I don't know. That'd be a curious thing to look into. I guess my concern, Andrea, with using it as like it answers FAQs is like you said, it's like a predictive tool as opposed to like a fact-based tool. So it'd be like, oh, this FAQ doc says we cover 90% of benefits. I'll just tell this person we cover 100%. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be nervous to give misinformation to my candidates, and then I have to like clean up all this crap throughout my recruitment process.
Yeah.
Agreed, to be honest. Like it would need to be trained highly specific to have certain like almost canned responses to certain questions for it to be able to determine like, hey, in what bucket does this question apply, and to give it kind of like our canned response, not really a programmatic thing. So yeah,
Right.
agree.
We had Eric on the show. I don't know if it's going to be the episode right before this one or a couple episodes before this episode, but he's a co-founder of LinkedIn, and he's talking about how technology is going to change recruiting. And he said that, usually we see innovation come first on the consumer side, and then afterward we see it on B2B or whatnot. And so for like consumer products, people might prefer a chatbot than needing to be routed to a person. And waiting for 10 minutes. Like if they can quickly just get an answer to something, I think people might prefer that. And I'm just wondering like how Gen Z is going to think about this, right? Like, would they almost rather just have something with an instant response versus then getting on the call with a recruiter and asking a bunch of questions? Like what's going to be easier for them, right? Like it could cut down on customer success time to response, right?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, it creates better efficiency.
I agree. And I think it just depends on how you implement that, which parts of the process and which questions, which answers are you offering in that bucket, right? Because some things will still be on the recruiter side for sure. A lot of things will still be there, but other things could be automated with a chatbot.
But could it reduce conversion rates from a prospect to a candidate because they haven't had that human touch to engage them on those things?
I think so. I think it's like
really soon in the process.
I mean, I think it could make it harder.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, in certain implementations, it definitely can, most likely. However, I believe that if done right, and if ChatGPT improves, and ChatGPT 4 does seem to have a lot of potential, perhaps it could reduce and give back some time to recruiters.
Yeah.
And ultimately cut, conversion.
Well, and what's funny is that it kind of depends on the market. Like right now, that would honestly probably help me because I'm with the market being a little bit tighter than usual or than it has been recently. I'm getting way more active applicants than a year ago, even 6 months ago. So this would honestly be a helpful time for ChatGPT to be like, got your app. Thank you so much. Any questions? Let's chat. And I, the human being, will circle back as soon as possible. But then the other times when I'm exclusively sourcing passive candidates, no one's applying, I need that personal touch to break through the noise to get those candidates to respond. So I think it just depends on kind of the labor market and what things are looking like.
So there's another interesting point. We got about 9 minutes left before we have to jump off. Another interesting point, onboarding support. I like this. ChatGPT can be used to provide onboarding support to new hires, offering guidance on company policies, benefits, and training. This could help new employees feel more comfortable and prepared for their new role, potentially improving retention rates. I don't know about it potentially improving retention rates. That would probably seem like somewhat impossible to track. But I do like the idea of ChatGPT being a supplemental resource to people, right? Because it's like, if somebody's going through onboarding material, they have a meeting set with their manager for 2 p.m. in the afternoon. If they have a resource to bounce additional questions off of or help guide them to the right information, that could be quite valuable. Opposed to them digging through like several pages of documents trying to find an answer, they could just type it into basically, it's like the find feature on Excel.
Exactly.
Like we just get directly to the information that I need.
Yeah.
So, or like, even HR stuff, like how do I submit PTO? Like, you really want to wait on an HR rep to, take half a day to get back to you? I mean, there's just like some of that administrative information where, and you don't want to spend 20 minutes digging through a Google Drive or whatever tool.
Handbook.
Yeah, a handbook or, just tell me the thing I need fast. And that is efficient. And there's efficiency gains for the entire organization when people are doing less of that stuff, trying to figure out stuff that could more easily be at their fingertips utilizing this tool.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Makes sense.
That to me is actually like a much better implementation or value add than like helping with employer branding is or personalized career advice. Like, I don't know. That doesn't really seem appealing to me, or like it would actually be high impact. I'm trying to think. I mean, those are most of the main things that I'm seeing here. I think what it's supplemental to human efforts, right? It's just cutting down on time doing administrative stuff, finding information, creating a second draft,
Doing Boolean searches, thinking
searches, smart. Yeah, that's what Julia said too.
Keywords. Yeah.
Yeah, what I think is interesting. So I not NPR this time, but I did listen to a podcast a couple weeks ago about ChatGPT, and they interviewed this one English teacher who's actually embracing it. She's like, listen, I think it'll behoove my students to have ChatGPT write them an initial draft of a paper, because then they still have to use their brains to edit it, to finalize it, to be able to think critically enough to kind of evaluate if ChatGPT did a good job or not. Because obviously the huge concern is like, oh my gosh, will this replace like creative work? Like, will this start writing our blog posts for us and our articles, and in this case, like our email templates or whatever? So her perspective at least was, no, it can't replace it, because you need that human element of editing and finalizing and checking tone and all that kind of stuff. So
Great point, because I was reading something on this as well, and it's not really going to stifle like human creativity, because right now it's every bit of response that it's giving you to you, it's taking from something that's already been created. So it's basically recycling, or for lack of a better word, recycling what it already has and kind of compiling from a lot of data points. But when it comes to actual innovation, a lot of scientists think that it's still on the human side. Thankfully, we're still in power here when it comes to actually new ideas. So I kind of agree with that teacher.
So I just asked ChatGPT, how can I use ChatGPT to build a hiring plan for a 50-person tech company with an average cost per hire under $4,000?
oh my gosh, let's go. What did it say?
Eh,
You disagree?
first, I don't disagree. It's just like,
Generic, right?
define your hiring needs, blah, 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 blah. Define a recruiting strategy. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not going to go into that. Craft compelling job descriptions, set up an ATS, screen resumes and conduct interviews. Oh, you got to interview people? Conduct background and reference checks, make offers, and onboard new hires. And then the summary at the end is actually like, mildly helpful. To keep your cost per hire under 4,000, you may want to consider using cost-effective recruiting channels such as social media, referrals, and internal job postings. Okay, yeah, social media. I mean, that's like, it's a bit vague, but okay. Posting organic on LinkedIn could drive applications. If you see a candidate engage with a post several times, then you do manual outreach to that person, asking if they're interested. We've hired several people with that. Referrals is, of course, a good source. Internal job postings are free and are pushed out to paid job boards for free. You may want to also negotiate lower fees with recruiting agencies, or consider hiring temporary or contract workers to fill short-term needs. Companies like SecureVision. No, wait, it didn't say that. I just added that part, but
It named us so nice, ChatGPT. Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for the shout out. Additionally, streamlining your recruitment and hiring process so that you can help reduce costs by saving time and resources. Time is a resource, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay. I mean, it's interesting. I'm sure you could dig further into that and get some more value, but like, I find it really interesting when asking those kind of questions, right? Where you attach a dollar sign and see if it can give you a strategy within a certain budget.
Yeah. And again, the more specificity you add to it, the better the response technically. And I feel like the response that you got could be good for someone that's like totally new to recruitment, right? It's a hiring manager that hasn't maybe recruited before, and they want to get like the general data and not search through links. But they need to go more in depth, or hire us to get more insight and help.
Yep. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
I'm slowly opening my heart to ChatGPT. That's my final thought.
So this is not relevant to talent acquisition. But I said, ChatGPT, we are business partners. What is the easiest way to turn $200 into $1 million?
A lot of people are doing that, actually. I've read about that.
Okay. Yeah, it's not start a business, invest in the stock market, cryptocurrency.
That feels dated.
Real estate investing. How could you do that for $200? I don't like it.
Actually, you could buy a lead list. You literally could actually buy a lead list for $200. And if you're willing to door knock and cold call, you could actually literally do that.
I wonder if you could literally build a business by asking ChatGPT every single small step.
Like your next decision.
Somebody should do that.
Someone
just
should,
as somebody's probably doing it right now. Yeah.
Someone's doing it right now. Yeah.
Step
and
by
they're
step.
gonna write a book about it in like a year.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Good
Mhm.
times. Good times. It's certainly a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what happens. I do think that there's probably so Eric, co-founder of LinkedIn, was basically saying the way that technology is really going to change the role of the recruiter over the next 5 to 10 years is going to come down to efficiency gains. So whether it's using tools like generative AI tools like ChatGPT or otherwise, it's going to come down to just eliminating waste. And there's still so much opportunity for that and with recruitment. So I think the biggest way that ChatGPT is it's just going to help eliminate waste, right? And there's, I think, probably parts top of funnel, down funnel that it could be leveraged for. So I think that that's going to happen. But as we all said, like, it's supplemental to human effort.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better like response time. I think the one thing too, just to remember, it was saying like employee experience or candidate experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that is going to get a lot better. Faster response times, access to information. It's basically operating as that like control F find field to dial in on what you need faster. And then there should be like real human eyes following up on that. And I think it should be clear to candidates that it's a chatbot responding and not a human, which usually chatbots is fairly, I mean, they make that obvious.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, cool. Time's up. We gotta jump off here, but for everybody tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. I hope today was entertaining and you had as much fun as we did. We are recording an episode every Tuesday and Thursday, or releasing an episode every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. And if you are getting value from the show, we always appreciate reviews on Apple Podcasts or whatever streaming platform you prefer. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, make sure to reach out to talenttrends.io. We have an email you can reach out to there. And also, if there's any topics you want us to discuss specifically on the show, please feel free to reach out on that same email listed on talenttrends.io, and we'll make sure to put it into our content plan for the following episodes. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye.